Tragic accidents occur all the time, and usually without warning. One second things are fine, the next, a catastrophe happens. We have some chilling photos that were taken moments before tragedy struck. The Space Shuttle Challenger, 72 seconds before it exploded. On January 28, 1986, the Challenger was set to go off to space. This mission was going to be special because a civilian schoolteacher named Krista McAuliffe was going into space, and she was going to teach her children from there. Children all around the country tuned in from their classrooms to watch the shuttle head to outer space with a teacher. Less than 2 minutes after it launched, it exploded mid-air and everybody on board was killed. Today, NASA holds a day of remembrance for those who lost their lives that day. Lalisa Desisa wins the Boston Marathon 2 hours before it's bombed. On April 15, 2013, Lalisa Desisa, an Ethiopian runner, won the Boston Marathon. When he crossed the finish line, it was a beautiful day for everyone. Nobody knew that 2 hours after this photo was taken that a heinous act of terrorism would occur. 2 young men left homemade bombs at the finish line, and they detonated, killing 3 people, including an 8-year-old boy, and injured nearly 300. After the bombing, the suspects continued their crime spree by killing a university police officer, carjacking a young man, and turning a suburban street into a war zone by shooting at police officers and throwing explosives. Jadil's last Instagram photo. Ramon Alberto Gonzalez Adams, better known as Jadil, was a rapper and reggaeton artist from Puerto Rico. He loved riding his motorcycle almost as much as he loved performing. This photo was taken right before he took his final ride. On Saturday, May 27, 2014, he was riding in Rochester, New York when his motorcycle collided with a car. He was only 27 years old at the time of his death. John F. Kennedy on his final car ride. One of the worst days in American history was the day John F. Kennedy was assassinated. This is a photo of John F. Kennedy taking his final ride in the back of a limo. When shots fired, President Kennedy was killed and Texas Governor John Connally was injured. Not long after, a man named Lee Harvey Oswald was arrested for the crime. The Hindenburg, right before it exploded. On May 6, 1937, the Hindenburg took flight. It was the most luxurious airship of its time, and it was capable of carrying 100 passengers. It was powered by 7 million cubic feet of hydrogen, and a gas leak caused it to explode, killing 36 people. This photo was taken minutes before the explosion. A few minutes before Archduke Franz Ferdinand was murdered, which caused World War I. On June 28, 1914, Archduke Franz Ferdinand was driving through the streets of Sarajevo with his wife, Sophie Chotek. A 19-year-old assassin named Gavrilo Princip shot him, which is what set off World War I. This photo was taken moments before that history-making gunshot. Hiroshima, right before the bomb dropped. On August 6, 1945, the U.S. flew the Enola Gay over the Japanese city of Hiroshima. They dropped a 5-ton nuclear bomb nicknamed Little Boy. The immediate impact of the bomb killed over 80,000 people within 4 square miles. Later, thousands more people would die because of radiation poisoning. This photo was taken immediately before the bomb was dropped. Malaysia Airlines Flight MH17. This photo was taken by Corpan on July 17, 2014 and posted on Facebook. The caption translated to, "Should it disappear?" The reason for the caption was that just a few months earlier, Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 disappeared. Sadly, this airplane would also disappear because it was shot down by a missile over eastern Ukraine. There were almost 300 people on board, and they were all killed. The last photo of Tupac Shakur. On September 7, 1996, Tupac Shakur was in Las Vegas driving in the passenger seat of a white Cadillac, and Suge Knight was driving. The fellow rapper took this photo, and a few moments afterwards, someone shot up the Cadillac, killing Tupac. This is the last photo that was ever taken of him, and the case is still unsolved today. The Eagles of Death Metal's Nightmare of a Concert. On November 13, 2015, the Eagles of Death Metal were playing a show in Paris. Around 9:40 p.m., 3 gunmen went into the venue and opened fire on the crowd. The French police killed the gunmen, but only after they had killed 90 people. One of the people who died was Nick Alexander, the 36-year-old merchandise manager for the band. 3 months later, the band returned to Paris to play a tribute concert for those who were killed and injured. Many people came to the show wearing T-shirts for their deceased loved ones. Others came in on crutches or using canes. This photo was taken minutes before the shooting occurred. The Titanic right before its fatal voyage. The Titanic, the most luxurious ocean liner of its time, was said to be unsinkable. In April 1912, it set sail only to crash into an iceberg and sank. Because there weren't enough lifeboats on board, over 1,500 people died. This is a photo of the Titanic shortly before it left port and sailed to its doom. The aftermath of the Indian Ocean tsunami. The day after Christmas in 2004, an earthquake ripped up the seabed of the Indian Ocean. It wasn't the earthquake that caused the devastation. It was the tsunami that occurred, and it took the lives of nearly 250,000 people by the end of that day. This is a satellite photo of Sri Lanka after the tsunami, and the beachfront is gone. It was one of the deadliest natural disasters in history, the destroyed compound at Waco. The Branch Davidians were a Christian sect led by David Koresh. Koresh combined the Bible, polygamy, weapons, and child abuse. Finally, the ATF decided to take action. The mission resulted in the deaths of 4 ATF agents and 6 Davidians. The FBI took over, and a 51-day siege took place. When a fire started on the 51st day, 76 Davidians, including David Koresh, died. This is a photo moments after the fire broke out. New Orleans underwater. Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans hard. After the levee broke around the city, 80% of it was underwater. The actual death toll is still unknown. The lowest estimate is about 900 people, but the highest is close to 4,000. Many of the bodies washed away or just could not be documented because of the damage in the city. This photo was taken the day after the levees broke, on August 29, 2005. Deepwater Horizon after the blast. Deepwater Horizon was an oil rig in the middle of the ocean. On April 20, 2010, the crew knew that there were problems on the rig, but the execs on board insisted that they keep going. It resulted in a surge of highly flammable gas coming out of a pipe, causing a massive explosion. That day, 11 people were killed and many more were injured. It was also the worst oil spill in U.S. history. This photo was taken after the blast when they were trying to get the fire under control.